Okay, so my project is called Zag Notes. My name is Cooper. It's basically a note sharing platform designed specifically for Gonzaga students. The idea is to create a web based system where students can go and upload and share to other students different study materials like lecture notes, study guides, practice exams, all these different things, but actually have them categorized to different courses, professors, and different terms. So the database stores information um, about users. So this will be like students, moderators, and maybe like TAs in the future or something. Uh, Courses and sections, obviously. The resource themselves with their metadata, study groups for collaboration, and then a moderation system to handle different things like plagiarism and other academic integrity things. So for use cases, I needed to cover adding, removing, updating, searching, and analyzing data. For adding data, users can upload new resources, link to different course sections, create study groups, rate and comment on resources, and flag content for moderation. For removing data, I implemented a soft delete for different resources. So the record stays for analytics, but it gets hidden from the user, and also the ability to remove any members from study groups. For updating, users can edit resource metadata and tags, and group owners can promote or demote members. For searching, there is faceted search where you can filter by a whole bunch of things like course, professor, term, resource type, rating, and tags. There's also a section library view with quick filters. And for analyzing data, we have top courses and top contributors. The top courses query just shows which courses have the most high rated resources, and the top contributors query is like a leaderboard that ranks users by uploads and average rating. So here's my ER diagram. Albeit it is a little messy, I got locked out of my smart draw behind a paywall, so I had to redo this quickly. But we see the main entities like user, study group, rating, comment, flag, tag section, and resource. Obviously, we see some of these relationships. A user can own many study groups, but a study group is only owned by one user. User can be a member of study group, but study groups can have a bunch of users, and just stuff like that. Rating is assigned to a resource gets a rating. That's kind of how it is for the comment and flags too, along with the tags. The resource is assigned it, and it has that. A resource exists within a section or belongs to a section, and a section can obviously have no or many resources. But that's the big spiel. A lot of it exists within the user and resource, and everything else is kind of a subsection of that. So for database population, I use synthetic data that I generated with Claude. I gave it my schema definitions and some example insert statements, and basically how to create realistic data that matches Gonzaga's like course structure. So real department codes like CPSC or other stuff like that. Realistic course names, professor names, and then term formats like fall or spring. This was pretty useful for me because I just had to get a lot of data and make sure it was valid for my schema. But it generated varied resource types and realistic rating distributions. So like not everything is rated 5 stars, which made some of the analytic queries a bit more meaningful. But I ended up having at least 100 rows per table, which is more than enough to really demonstrate all the use cases and show that the queries are working together. So here are my 3 queries that I'm pretty proud of. First is the top contributors leaderboard in the top left. This query basically joins the resource table with the user account and ratings, groups by user, and then calculates both the count of uploads and the average rating for each user's resource. It also filters out soft deleted resources, kind of how we mentioned earlier, and then orders by the upload count. It's pretty interesting because I got to use some, um, what are they called? Like count and average aggregation with different grouping and then sorting to kind of create almost a gamification feature. Second is top resources, which finds resources with an average rating of 4 or higher. This one joins 3 tables, so resource section and user account, along with ratings. The key part is the having clause that filters on the aggregated average, which you can't do with a regular where clause, obviously. And then third in the bottom right is the section library query, which is the main browsing experience. It's a parameterized query that takes a section ID and then returns all resources for that section with their average rating. Pretty cool left join on ratings. It's pretty important. It keeps resources that don't have any ratings yet. But this is probably the most important query in the entire app. So let's give a little demo. Come over here. So this is kind of the home page. The quick actions are pretty redundant to what we want to do up here, but that's okay. I'd probably make these more specific in the future. But we can work this way. So if we go to our users, I created this one in a test run, but let's just say like Coop, Braun, maybe C Braun 3. Why not? Let's say I majored in business. If we create the user, should add up right there. Wonderful. So that's for the different users. The sections, we have a bunch of different things. You can create sections. We obviously have, course, title, fall, term, section, professor. If we want to view into this, inside here, we'll have these different resources. So it'll say comments and a write. This is a lifesaver for the midterm, so it's rated 5.0. It's uploaded by this guy. It's a type, it's a cheat sheet. This doesn't go anywhere as of right now, but it very easily could. You could write a comment. Hey, this is great. User ID, I think that was 152. We'll give it a 2. So we can see it drops the average rating. I show up as the user I establish myself as with the user ID. But yeah, you can also add your different resources. We'll go back here. You can filter out. So let's say we want to find all of Thompson's classes. Okay, cool. Let's just say the ones with computer science. Wonderful. If we have fall, no sections yet. Cool. Study groups is another thing. These are basically just the same thing. You can create your own group as with your owner user ID. You can see all the different user IDs for the owner, the description of what the group is, the class name, and then kind of what it is again. So within here, you can basically add your resource again, and this stays within the study group. For top resources, it shows us the title, the average rating for the course, the section, then the uploader. Pretty cool. Then top contributors, sorts by upload count. So this guy has taken the cake for this one. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the demo. So into some challenges. One challenge was definitely schema evolution. My initial ER diagram needed some refinement as I got deeper into some of the use cases. I had to balance kind of normalizing this with keeping queries pretty simple enough to write and debug. SQL debugging was also pretty tricky. Little small mistakes in different complex joins or different clauses caused some subtle bugs that took probably too long to track down. And then also just keeping my TypeScript interfaces in sync with all the different data and schemas was a lot to think about. Not necessarily too hard, but definitely a lot to think about. Um, Limitations, there's a lot, but big ones are like no real login system. You kind of just input your user ID as like when you're uploading resources. There's no real integrity behind it right now. File upload obviously uses URL placeholders for now, and then obviously no password hashing or different security measures. But I think it's a good little MVP. But yeah, I think it's definitely to go off. But yeah, that's diagnosed. Thank you.